Hello everyone, Swing Wing Sing here with another new update video, and this time we are going to build the Hobby Boss 1/72 scale F-16 Fighting Falcon, and this will be in the Pakistan Air Force scheme. If you haven't already viewed, I had done an unboxing of this kit about a week or so back. If you want to have a look at that unboxing, I will leave a link to that video down in the description below, and you can go over to that video and watch the unboxing. So without further ado, let's get on with the build. So at the moment I've completed the steps till this point where the air intakes are assembled, or the air intake assembly is done. So basically the kit is pretty good. I mean, it's formed in these modules, so you can see this is the first module, the lower section of the fuselage. I have assembled the cockpit here with the pilot's ejection seat, the instrument panel, and there's a little joystick as well, but I made the error of fixing it the other way around. But since it is now super glued into place, I don't want to mess around with it, so that's an error on my part, so I'm going to leave it at that. And then this is the second module. Of course, this is the air intake. Pretty good design wise. If you look at how it fits into the lower section of the fuselage, you just have to align it out here, and look at the wonderful alignment here, and the part just fixes in like so and locks in there, and the air intake assembly is absolutely perfectly aligned there. So these modules are pretty good. Also very thoughtful detail on the part of Hobby Boss is that little I don't know exactly what that is. Probably that's a fuel line that leads in there, but that part basically goes in here. There's a slight notch inside the air intake assembly, so there are basically two parts to it. These two parts combine in the center here. Once that is done, it forms a little notch here, and that fuel pipe basically goes into this notch, and then there is a hammer sort of head like structure here, which goes and locks right inside that notch, and it aligns beautifully out here. So then I proceeded with painting the entire cockpit black, and at the moment you can see me detailing the seats with seat belts, because there is no detail in the seats. So I thought a little bit of seat belt detail would definitely enhance the look of the model. So here you can see me building up the seat belt with pieces of masking tape, looking at one of the reference pictures and following along the same lines. So I really marveled at how the construction of the main undercarriage landing gear assembly was done here, and you can see that it simply goes into the underside of the fuselage, comes out on top, and it's just a push, slide and fit in, and you can see how beautifully this aligns. And this was really helpful, because this kind of an assembly, I feel, offers a lot of strength to the undercarriage assembly. And here's the absolutely flawless assembly of the top part of the fuselage over the bottom half of the fuselage. Some brilliant engineering by Hobby Boss. Right, so I moved on to the first step in painting, and which was this bright chrome paint from QUB, and I painted the exhaust nozzle and the turbofan inside. I usually don't throw away leftover hardened modeling putty pieces, so I make use of them as weights inside the aircraft nose. And here you can see me putting in some weights inside the nose of the F-16, and then sealing them with some blue tack. And finally, after I was satisfied with the position of the blue tack inside the nose, I attached the nose to the main fuselage like so, and the fit of the nose was perfect. I then proceeded to weather the exhaust nozzle with some oil paints, and here you can see me using various colors like browns, blues and blacks. And then I used a toothpick to take just a small quantity of the black oil paint and then put dots at various places where I felt that there would be some blacks required, and repeated the same step with some browns. And then with an old weathering brush, I simply dry brushed the blacks and browns and blended those colors onto the exhaust nozzles. After this, I took the blue oil paint and began detailing the blue burn marks on the exhaust nozzle. Took a few drops of mineral spirits inside an old bottle cap, and then with another old brush I kind of blended the mineral spirits and the blue oil paint on the exhaust nozzle. So the first bit of scratch building detail that I had to put in was the bird slicers right in front of the pilot's cockpit windshield. I noticed the Hobby Boss kit doesn't have that detail, and it wouldn't because this is basically an F-16A kit, which I am modifying in to depict an F-16C. So for that purpose, I had to reconstruct this bit of detail. So I took the measurements on a plastic card and then cut out the shapes with my surgical blade. And once those shapes were cut out, I then picked them up with my surgical blade and glued them on right in front of the canopy windshield. So even though the Hobby Boss kit includes the newer style of the rudder, however, this is basically the F-16A rudder with the drag chute assembly behind it. However, for the PAF F-16s, I would have to cut out the drag chute assembly in a particular fashion, because the drag chute assembly on the F-16Cs was slightly different from that present on the A's. So here I am taking my OHP marker and basically marking out the section which needs to be cut out. And once this section is cut out, after that I will rebuild the entire section with some plastic sprue and putty, of course, and give it the actual shape of the drag chute assembly present on the F-16 Block 52s. And then with my handy dandy Dremel that I had purchased some time back to help me with these cutting jobs, I then cut out the section that was not required at the base of the model. And here you can see I have reconstructed the section with some plastic sprue, and now I am going to add some putty over it and finish it in the form that will give it the actual shape on the Block 52 F-16s. Alright, so once the putty work was done, I used my pedicure and manicure nail file to sand off the entire putty and shape it in the form that was required for the drag chute assembly. Right, so once the sanding was done, I also constructed the RWR antennae that are present on the drag chutes of the F-16 Block 52s, and you can see here that they came out pretty nice. The Hobby Boss kit is a bummer in terms of the weapon loadout because it only gives you the options for 3 drop tanks and 2 Sidewinder missiles. And so I began constructing the AIM 120 AMRAAM missiles by shaping pieces of sprues and began shaping it with my Dremel. And once I was satisfied with the shape of the missiles, I began working on the underside of the aircraft, wherein I used super glue to basically assemble the hard points onto the underside of the wings. Now the good part is that the hard points that are included with the kit are actually the ones that are there on the Block 52s, so that wasn't a problem that I had to deal with. And here's the ventral fin assembly. As you can see, it is absolutely flawless and gapless. So thank you to Hobby Boss for including excellent fitting parts. Right, with most of the assembly done, it was finally time to mask the canopy of the F-16, and I used Tamiya masking tape and cut out thin strips of it to mask around the frame of the canopy. The good part about the F-16 canopy is that it is a single piece canopy and it's very easy to mask, so I just burred the edges of the tape with a cotton Q-tip and covered the rest of the canopy with more tape. Right, and then I used Abro Matte Light Gray number 89 to spray the base gray color on the F-16, or light gray color on the F-16. This paint is very good. It acts as a primer and a paint itself. And I masked the camo pattern with blue tack and began painting the dark gray on the surfaces. But as soon as I started doing that, I noticed that my airbrush started sputtering the paint. It literally began spitting out the paint, and I had no option but to go for a full strip and clean of the airbrush, and only then was I able to proceed with any further painting of the camo pattern. Right, so then I created a dark gray wash. This is simply Camlin chalk pastel, white and black mixed together in the appropriate shade, and then I used the sludge wash method to apply the wash all over the surface of the aircraft, and I gave it about 15 minutes to dry. And once I was satisfied with how dry it was, I used a kitchen towel basically to wipe off all the excess wash from the surfaces, and this allowed the wash to settle down within the cracks and crevices on the aircraft surface, and it gave a very nice weathered look. Once I was satisfied with this, I then moved on to fine-tuning the weathering with a cotton Q-tip. The final step of weathering involved me using the same oil paints, and I used some white oil paint on top of the panels. I've seen some pictures of the PAF F-16s wherein these panels are quite weathered and they look slightly different or discolored, I would say. And then I moved on to the last step in the build process, which is the application of the decals. I had printed these decals at home. These are the low visibility PAF decals, and I used my standard procedure to apply the decals. And once the decals had settled down, I removed the excess with a cotton Q-tip. And so that completed the entire decaling process and also completed the build. And I finally put a flat matte coat over the entire model and sealed up the decals. And here we are, ready to roll F-16C Viper Block 52 from number 5 Squadron, Falcons, Pakistan Air Force. Scale modeling knows no barriers, and I would like to dedicate this model to an ace modeler from across the border who has helped me all along with all the details
required to construct an accurate Block 52 F-16 Viper. My 2 cents with this kit: it's an excellent fitting kit. Hobby Boss has definitely upped its game here with this kit, at least, with amazing fitting parts. There was no putty required at all in constructing this kit. Of course, if you're looking for constructing an accurate model beyond the Block 15 or the Block 10 versions, you will need a lot of scratch building. And if you're not limited with the weapons load, which is just 3 drop tanks and 2 Sidewinder missiles, and you're ready to go the extra mile to construct the AIM 120 AMRAAMs or the Sparrow missiles, you can definitely build a later model, but this model will suffice for a Block 10 or a Block 15 F-16C out of the box. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for staying tuned this far in the video. Do remember to comment, because I like to read and respond to all the comments. Thank you very much. See you here again. Bye bye. Take care.